town side, Stace, is that?
Yep.
good? Okay, so if you want to pull up, yep, thank you.
So can you all see my colorful screen share here?
Yeah,
Okay,
Yes.
okay. So this is where we ended with the Board of Selectmen, and then that includes these additional budget requests. So if we go up here, you can see the Selectmen action under column E, and then up for discussion, I'll just update column F. So do you want to go down these, or how do you want to run this?
we can go down those, I think.
Okay. So the first item was the ambulance. They did ask for an increase of $302,529. The Board of Selectmen did include that in their recommendation.
Okay. Any questions on that from anyone? I'm a longtime supporter of the ambulance, so it's nice to see that, you know, we're gonna hopefully support them as they need to be. No questions? Okay, go ahead.
Okay. The assessor's office did ask for an increase into their reval reserve account. They've been monitoring it for the last few years. We do have a new reval coming up in 2 years. So they didn't want anybody to be surprised that we were in a little bit of a lull and we didn't have enough to support their upcoming reval. So they were asking for $30,000 for this current year budget increase to put into the reserve balance. The Board of Selectmen removed that and will be asking the Board of Finance to do a special appropriation for that amount to infuse into the reserve fund so that we can support the upcoming reval. So
Okay.
that is removed. They asked for 30 and the Board of Selectmen removed it, and they will be coming to you after their next meeting to ask for a special appropriation to put into that reserve fund.
Okay, any questions on that? Okay,
Okay. The next thing is Beach and Rec. So they were asking for increased coverage. So from 5 days to 7 days, there was a lot of discussion at the Board of Selectmen. And in the end, they ended up adding the $38,558 to cover everything from gate attendants, light-in lifeguards, and the surf club office for a 7 full day coverage. So that was $38,000.
okay. Any questions on that? Okay, keep going.
Okay. Fire marshal, Sam has a retirement coming up as well as an open position. So he's looking to take the 2 part-time positions and make it 1 full-time position, which in total salary would result in a savings of $7.4 thousand. In the meantime, with that savings, he would like to offset an increase in fire inspector hours. So the total increase that the fire marshal's office is asking for is $4,400.
Okay. Any questions on that? Okay, go ahead.
Okay.
Excuse me,
Okay.
can I jump in here? I just got a
Sure.
text. We all got a text from Ken. He says, I don't see the Zoom link. So somebody needs to send Kenny the Zoom link.
Danielle, can you do that or do I need to do that?
I can do it if you can send me his email.
No, I can do it then. Hang on.
Thank you.
Am I sharing my screen right now?
Yeah.
No, you're not sharing his.
Oh, I'm not? All my
email on
emails,
the
everything?
same screen. No, Oh, you're staying on the same screen.
So while you're doing that, so this would give Sam the what he said he needed in order to provide the fire marshal coverage for the town.
Correct.
Yeah. Okay.
Good. Okay, Stace.
Hang on, I'm sending my email.
Oh, sorry.
Okay. Are you getting, can you guys see my additional
Yeah.
budget request? Okay. All
You're
right.
still
All right. So next, land use. So there's a little bit of a reorg as well as a result of the early retirement incentive. So we had some savings. We had somebody retire and we moved over an assistant from another department. So that savings, the difference in the salary, would offset this additional position as well as reducing some hours and the salary rate of the existing person in the land use office, the current zoning enforcement officer, inland wetlands officer. So the net impact to hire a new position offsetted with those savings would be $43,000. And this is something that the Board of Selectmen is including in their recommendation.
Okay. I just want to clarify for people who are watching, this is not new information for us. We've, when the budget was presented, it was presented to us. So the lack of questions is mostly because we've already have gone through this. So it's really just a matter of trying to see where we need talking points, clarification for information, which is why we asked for the questions now. So just to be clear, we're not just running through this. Go ahead, Stace.
Okay. Next item is the library. I'm sure you're all familiar with their requests. They came to the joint budget workshop. Overall, they're looking for a $242,000 increase for their operating budget.
Any questions on that? Okay, go ahead.
Okay. Next item, Public Works. They've been asking for this position for a while for an assistant for their department as well as / project manager type position. They asked for a full-time position of $75,000. The Board of Selectmen discussed this at length and decided that maybe we start with a part-time position. So that's where we get the $35,000 that the Board of Selectmen are recommending.
Okay, any questions on that? And just to remind everyone, we have 4 budget hearings, so we have time to go back and look at anything that we need to. Go ahead.
Okay. Next item, register of voters. It was really just an increase in the hourly wage, looking at the unemployment rate or the minimum wage going up. So it's $1,200.
Okay. Any questions?
Should be, Stacy, and that's mandated by state law, is that right?
Yeah, we're trying to get up to that level that is eventually going to hit us. So yes. Yep.
Thank you. Go ahead.
The Selectman's office, this was for the lights downtown during the holiday season. This is a net impact. We do have a little bit budgeted this current year. We did have, we took money from a few different places, but we're looking to make this a permanent budget, operating budget item. So this would be $13,000.
It was absolutely beautiful, and I don't think I've heard anyone say anything else about that. So hopefully we can.
I couldn't agree more, Gene.
It's like a Hallmark movie.
I'll just add, because some people have mentioned, I'm the liaison to the EDC, so I did ask them about the details. They did in fact buy all the lights, so the town of Madison does own all the lights. They're stored somewhere. But, well, yeah, but I think the reality is, like all of us at our houses, probably 50% of them will work next year. So, but they do own them, so they can be reused.
That's great. Any other questions? Good, go ahead.
Okay. Next department, senior services. And as you all know, this was part of the early retirement program. There's a few moving parts in here, but the net impact to hire this new municipal agent would be $22,000, which is what we're at, which is what was recommended to increase the budget by. However, just so you know, this $55,000 for the Beach and Rec director severance payout, the Board of Selectmen pulled that out and will be asking for a special appropriation for that amount. So this amount technically would not be an increase. So.
You're just putting it in there as a placeholder.
Well, it was there before they decided to move the severance out of the budget process. That's all.
Okay.
So I just wanted to be clear that yes, if you do believe in the position, the 22 will be an increase in the budget. But they are pulling out the one-time costs for the severance payout, which would offset this increase.
Mm-hmm. Any questions on that?
Yeah, excuse me. Are you saying that the, scroll it back, yeah. So that instead of being a plus 22, it's really a minus 33?
To the budget, correct, Philmar, because we're gonna pull the 55 out, or the Board of Selectmen did.
Okay,
They want to pull that out and do a special appropriation, so the net impact would be a reduction in this department.
okay. So the ongoing with the reorganization is a negative number.
Yes,
Okay, thank you.
welcome.
Okay, any other questions? Okay, go ahead.
Okay. Town Clerk's Office, I know you're all familiar with this item. We're looking to increase the part-time assistant town clerk to make her a full-time assistant town clerk. We did do that for the remainder of this current fiscal year. However, we did agree that this would need to be reviewed during the budget process. So the difference in her increase minus some overtime or temporary help hours would be an impact to the budget of $10,630.
Okay, any questions on that? Okay, go ahead.
Okay. The next item is basically CIP. So what the committee recommended was 100, or actually the request that was originally submitted was 160,000 of an increase in our annual capital budget funding. So they included it, and that's what the 160 is. The committee did also recommend an additional 65,000. That was not included because they're asking for a special appropriation for highway equipment outside of this realm. But to summarize, sorry, I'm going into too much detail, but the CIP from last year to this year, the way it stood was an additional 160,000 in the base funding into the program.
Okay. Any
Okay.
questions on that?
Okay.
Good.
So the next few items are positive items. This morning, the Board of Selectmen agreed or confirmed and made a motion to commit to a debt service refunding. So we're looking to kind of refund, so to speak, refinance Salt Meadow, which will save us in our debt service going forward about $20,000 a year. So they reduced that in their recommendation.
Good.
as well as there was a reduction in the workers' comp for 29,000. That was a gift. And then the severance reduction, that's what we talked about originally. That is for 3 retirees that we do not need to budget. It's a one-time expense for a severance retirement payout. And then these small items, these are just kind of a hiccup in what made it into the budget in the reports. So the net impact of all of these items would be 725,000,
Okay.
which would bring us to this total.
Okay. Okay, any questions on that? Anybody feel that they need more information than what we already know? Kind of just went through, there weren't questions. Does anyone feel they need more? Keeping in mind our responsibility is just really not, we're not the planning mechanism, just a matter of looking at what we believe the town can afford. But any questions about any of this?
Stacy, can you back up one page and look, let me look at the ones that, the items that have been removed. Yeah, okay, there. Special appropriation recommendations. So you're taking out 106 for severances, 60 for revaluation, 150 for, and 500 and, okay. Okay, so these are, we're moving, instead of putting one-time items into the budget, we're going to be funding them out of the fund balance. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, so the big piece, Fillmore, this 106 was included in the original requested. The reval, we asked for 30,000 for this year, which
Yep.
was up above, and then 30,000 for next year. But I believe the Board of Selectmen is going to just say, or ask for the full 60,000 to just get the reval reserve up to par.
All right,
This is a new item. This was not part of the budget, the WPCA study. And that's for 150,000. This has been talked about for years. And we're looking at a reimbursement for about half of that, but this is outside of the budget process.
okay,
This 500,000 for the highway equipment, and Justin, you can certainly speak up. You're on CIP, or Jude. This was kind of to get us up to speed based on the study that we did on the highway equipment and what we needed to do to get up to par with all of our equipment. And the recommendation from the Board of Selectmen after a couple of meetings was, let's infuse 500,000 so that we can get as much equipment as we can, or vehicles as we can right now, and kind of get us on a schedule moving forward. And then this last item is included in the CNRE. It won't change what we put into it, into the CNRE or the CIP for this upcoming year, but it kind of gets us this out of the program and gets us the boards in advance. So that comes to an $858,000 request. Hopefully that'll come to you next month.
Could I ask a quick question, Gene?
Yeah.
So 2 things, Stacy, the 150,000 reimbursement, is that clean water fund or is that for a study for the WPCA?
That is a study for the WPCA, and supposedly the state is going to reimburse us half of that, John.
Okay, and the whomever, Gene or Justin or you, the highway equipment, do you know what it is? Is it vehicles and the lifespan of the equipment? I guess is my question.
Yes, yeah. Yeah, the study, John, was done by an independent reviewer, and it is equipment. It's the trucks, basically the trucks. And Madison has kept their trucks in service for, some of these trucks are like 19 years old. So the result of the study that was done was that there are a lot of trucks, both in terms of years on the truck and in terms of mileage, that make the trucks no longer, well, questionably going forward, whether they're really fit for service going forward, and that there needs to be a revised repair and replace schedule for the fleet of trucks.
Yeah, I'm asking a question, not because I'm against it or basically I just wanted the lifespan, and you just said 19 years, and I'm just saying this in general terms. I know we did a refund and a refinance, rates are so low, and I'm not a big believer in borrowing money, but sometimes it does make sense to do that. Just something to think about, and just in general terms. It's something as a lifespan, and you're borrowing money about 2%. It's just something I want us to keep in mind. That's all.
That still could be on the table, John. I think the decision was this is I think we have 6 heavy dump trucks, and this is either 2 or possibly a third that we're going to buy initially. So there was discussion about financing, and we probably will do that as we set up a kind of like the police, like a replacement policy. But we thought since our fund balance is so healthy, it might make more sense for these initial vehicles to purchase them outright. But that has been discussed, and it may still be, that may still be a good idea to look at.
So
Yeah,
go ahead, sorry.
Yeah, Justin, just along those lines, and right, I don't know yet, or obviously for discussion, but if rates start to drift up, the one thing about borrowing money soon is you can lock that low rate in. If rates start to drift up, we do have a healthy fund balance, and it will eventually, I know it's not paying anything now, generate more money. I just wanted something for us to keep in mind and discuss. That's all.
Yeah, and I know they're talking about the infusion for the lease schedule. I just want to be careful that we're not leasing trucks beyond their lifespan. I think that's, yeah, and I don't know the answer to that, but that'd be something that I would want to look at,
Yeah,
I
Stacy,
don't think we should
typically,
finance more than 10 years. I think that,
Right.
yeah, John,
that-
can you hear me? Can you hear
That
me?
was a huge discussion
Yeah.
that we don't want to financing. You can't go out to
You're not
bond,
supposed to. Right.
No, well,
over and
finance
above the
companies-
life, the
Yeah.
useful life of the vehicle.
finance companies
Kenny's
won't
trying to, go
offer.
ahead, Kenny.
Yeah, they won't, finance companies will not allow you, there's typically an equation, which is age of equipment plus term cannot exceed useful life. So they would have a tough time finding a finance company to finance aged assets longer than the useful life. So I don't know that that's, an issue unless you've got someone that's shady doing the financing, which I don't think is the case.
Any other questions? So, again, I don't want to touch the Board of Ed until they've had a chance to meet and discuss those funds that came in after their planning. So at this point, I don't have any questions. I'd be happy to, if you want more information, we can try to facilitate that. Again, I think, we've worked well with what was going on with the Board of Selectmen, the presentations, the meetings we were all in attendance for, which is helpful. So we're not bringing staff in twice unless it's something we still don't understand. But I think we need to, I think at our next meeting, talk with the Board of Finance, about the Board of Ed, and then kind of start talking about numbers in terms of the mill rate. So anything somebody needs, do they feel like we should bring anyone back in?
Yeah, well, Jane, I just think waiting for the Board of Ed is very smart because that could impact other things. So I think that would have some bearing on this budget. That's all.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else?
Yeah, if I may, I think I saw earlier that Johnny Iannacco was on here someplace. Maybe I'm mistaken. If Johnny is here, maybe he could give us a couple of words about the state of these big dump trucks, in his opinion. Is John around? John on?
Can you hear
Okay.
me?
Yeah, is this John
Yeah.
Iacocco?
This is John Iannacco.
Okay, yeah,
Yeah, the vehicles are in poor shape. Primarily the heavy dump trucks that are they're old, and like it says in the fleet study, beyond their useful life expectancy. And actually, the mechanic just a few days ago took a lot of pictures of the trucks underneath the with the underneath the dump bodies. Essentially, you can see the corrosion and cracks and so forth. And three of the 8 trucks, the bodies are not even functioning right now at this point, and the spreaders and so forth. So they are in very poor condition, and we're fortunate enough to survive the winter. Hopefully, knock on wood. Looks like we made it through the winter okay, but it certainly is a concern.
okay, thank you, John.
Do we, real quick, we go off a state bid price, or how do we purchase these? I'm sure that's what it is, but.
Typically, when we buy replacement vehicles, we go off the state bid price, unless it is possible to go out to bid if we think we can beat those prices. But it's been my experience that we cannot beat the state bid price.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, any other questions? Thanks, Jenny. Anyone else?
Thank you.
All right, so I think then we will call it an evening. Any questions from staff that are on, that feel they want to say something? I just don't want to ignore people. Okay. All right, so we are good for tonight. We will meet again.